Welcome to Metrics That Matter. We will learn how to make sense of your fundraising data to make better decisions and raise more money with less effort. Brought to you by fundraisingreportcard.com, a simple and free analytics and reporting tool for nonprofit pros. Now measuring is easier than ever with fundraisingreportcard.com.
A quick announcement. As a listener of the podcast, we are making the Engagement Fundraising audiobook available to you free of charge. Just go to imarketsmart.com/exclusive-podcast-offer. As a thank you for listening, we wanted to give everyone free access to Greg's Engagement Fundraising audiobook that you can get on Audible or Apple Books for $15. Once again, just visit imarketsmart.com/exclusive-podcast-offer. That's imarketsmart.com/exclusive-podcast-offer. Thanks for listening, and we hope you enjoy Greg's book. Now on to the episode. So Zach, we're joined today by not just us, by a special guest.
Should we introduce him? I think we should introduce him, Tim. What do you think?
He could just start talking. No one knows who he is. That could be entertaining.
I think if we mention Mal Warwick, Donor Digital, though, right, Dan, they'll know who you... Well, okay, I guess I gave it away. Dan Doyle. Dan Doyle's our guest today. How you doing, Dan?
Hello. It's great to be here.
So who the hell are you?
That's a great question. I ask myself that a lot, and my kids ask me that a lot. But anyways, with that, I am actually the new kid here. I started a week ago, so I'm the new kid at Fundraising Report Card. My official title is Chief Evangelist.
Very cool. And how did you first start working in the nonprofit space? So Zach mentioned Mal Warwick a little bit ago.
So, although I've only been here a week, I've actually been around forever, it seems. I started about 25 years ago, actually, more than 25 years, but let's just stop counting at 25. I've been around the block, to say the least. How did I get my start? Well, officially, I got my start literally straight out of college. It was a bit of a baptism by fire. I didn't know a thing about fundraising or nonprofits, not one thing. But all these years later, I think I've learned a thing or two.
What initially inspired you to go down that path and working with nonprofits?
I think people who've been around as long as I have, I think most of them started their careers in nonprofit fundraising really by accident. I actually interviewed for one job at an organization. They asked me to be a fundraiser instead. I don't know if I was ignorant, naive, or what, but I said, yes, sure, why not? But I'm really glad that all these years later, it's been a phenomenal career for me, and I wouldn't really change a thing.
So this was your first job out of college working with nonprofits. You weren't like a mathematician or like a musician, or what was the path you thought your life was on?
I was a business major, actually, and my first job was working with an organization called the Leadership Foundation, and they were a scholarship organization that offered scholarships to business students all across the country. Kind of my field. I was going to help them raise money, of which I knew nothing about.
What were your year 1 and 2 learning experiences there?
Really lucky because no one else there knew anything about fundraising either. So, I was joining a team of people who didn't know anything about fundraising, and they were asking me to do it. My sort of big learning was that I had to sort of find a lot of answers on my own. It was very, very early in nonprofit fundraising as a career. So there were a lot of resources that I kind of latched onto very early on. And I had to wear tons of hats. I had to do everything from events to direct mail to major giving fundraising to running the shop, you name it. It was pretty much a typical small development office. Fundraiser of one on the team, and that was it.
So you were able to build a lot of empathy, I take it, really quick, right, Dan?
I think so, yeah. I think so.
How has that shaped your career trajectory? Because you ended up, I know we're gonna keep playing 20 questions with you, and for our audience, get the whole story out there. You had a really acclaimed career in this space. How did building empathy early on, kind of being in that small development shop and wearing all those hats, how did that kind of set you up in either a positive or in a negative way for the rest of your career kind of archetype to where you are now today with us here at Fundraising Report Card?
I think it's been all positive. And one of the things I learned very early on when I moved from half of my career has been working at nonprofit organizations, helping them raise money. Half of my career has been working for companies that service nonprofits, helping them raise money. One of the most important things I've done is actually sit in the seat as a fundraiser at a nonprofit organization. So I really learned firsthand how difficult it was, how many hats you had to wear, how many different bosses you had, the resources that were not available to you, all of those challenges of actually having to do the job. And so when I became the face of an agency and actually was serving nonprofits, I think it made me far more valuable to them. And I was able to provide far more helpful information to them because I'd actually been in their seat. And I was able to lead people in our company and help them have a better perspective for being on the client side of the business. I think it's been all positive for me.
And building that empathy is something that I've recognized as well. Unfortunately, I don't have your experience, Dan, of being in that role, working within a nonprofit organization. So maybe, I guess, tell us a little bit after the Leadership Foundation, after that first position out of college, what did you do next?
There have been really three big cornerstones to my career after the Leadership Foundation. And I was there about 10 years and learned everything I knew there. After the Leadership Foundation, the first sort of cornerstone was my time at the Alzheimer's Association at their national headquarters in Chicago. There I held a variety of positions, but ultimately was leading their entire direct response fundraising program. We had about 700,000 donors all across the country. We raised about $25 million a year. It was a huge program, a very big program, and raised a lot of important money for the organization's mission. In that role, I not only was responsible for raising basically low dollar unrestricted funds, the kind of money that keeps the organization's doors open and laptops on, lights on, and all that sort of stuff, but I also was responsible for generating leads for our major and planned giving teams. I think what was super exciting about that role was it was a very large program. It was very important to the organization, but it was more than just low dollar direct response fundraising. I really had my feet in the world of major giving and planned giving by being their number one lead generation tool. I really appreciated that. After that, I was there for about another 10 years. And after that, I moved back home here to sunny San Francisco, or foggy San Francisco as it is oftentimes. I took an ownership and a leadership role as the CEO of Mal Warwick Donor Digital, which is an integrated fundraising agency. We worked with small, mid-sized, and large nonprofits all across the country, built an entirely new analytics team and all new analytic tools for our clients. We acquired a digital fundraising agency so we could become a truly integrated fundraising service firm. Actually, one of the first, if not the first, direct mail agency to make that type of an investment. We talked about my first job. My very first day at my very first fundraising position, I showed up at the Leadership Foundation, and on my desk was Mal's book, How to Write Successful Fundraising Letters. And I remember my boss walking into my office and telling me, he looked at me and said, "Yeah, just read the book and everything will be fine." And
Learning
and
fire
indeed,
by baptism.
Yeah.
just read Mal's book and it'll all be fine. And it actually was. It was really interesting. It all came full circle all those years later, 20 years later, actually leading his agency. It was a real honor, and it was kind of coming full circle for me.
Something that strikes me is 10 years is very abnormal, and you did that twice in a row at nonprofits. What'd you do? They not have to jump jobs so often. I
am sort of the antithesis of so many people in the nonprofit space and the fundraising space. I find something I like and I do it, and I do it for as long as it's a great fit. And it just so happens that I've had these sort of 10-year sprints, and I was 10 years at the Leadership Foundation. I was, I think, 10 to 12 years at the Alzheimer's Association, and then I was 10 plus years at Mal Warwick Donor Digital. I think with each organization, there were tremendous opportunities to improve the organizations. And so it was a 10-year need, really, to make the sort of changes I wanted to make. And sort of, it was interesting, my sort of last year leading Mal Warwick Donor Digital, I sort of knew all the work I wanted to accomplish when I first walked in there was done. And I felt really great that with an amazing team around me that we'd accomplished so much in those 10 years. And I kind of just took a step back and said, I think this chapter is done. It's ready for someone else to take the reins. And they've got an amazing leader now, my successor. And I felt really great about closing that chapter. And the last 3 years, I launched a startup that built mobile fundraising apps for nonprofits. So it's been an amazing journey, but you're right. It has been not a typical journey of a fundraiser.
Tim, I don't know about you, but I want to be like Dan when I grow up. Yeah. 10 years,
You're making me feel old.
Yeah. It's awesome, Dan. So you're joining us here with Fundraising Report Card. I mean, we're so privileged to have you on board. What are you going to be doing?
Well, my official title, as I mentioned at the start, is Chief Evangelist. What I really do is I help clients raise more money for their programs. If you make one statement about what I do is I really help organizations raise more money. And that's what I've been doing my entire career. So it's great to be continuing to do that. I work directly with clients to make sure they know how best to use Fundraising Report Card. And it's, I'm learning more about it every single day from you, Zach, and others. And it's an amazingly powerful tool. So my work is going to be continuing to help clients get the most they can out of Fundraising Report Card to analyze their files. And then the other part of my job is going to be to bring forward their great ideas about how we can improve the product. I'm sort of both a student and a teacher, and I love it. I'll be helping organizations get the most they can out of Fundraising Report Card to raise the most money they can to build their mission. And I'm also going to be listening to them to hear what their needs are so that we can actually make our tool set better. So I love the duality.
And it really fits with your prior experiences, because if you think about it, correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, but when you were at Alzheimer's Association and when you were at Mount Warwick, I mean, those are two, one being nonprofit, one being for-profit, really robust organizations. So when it comes to analysis and analytics and things like that, there's budget, there's staff, and the like to facilitate it. But here, I mean, you wouldn't have joined us if you didn't know. I mean, we're taking a different approach, right?
Yeah, I think so. It used to be in the day that to get great analysis, you had to have really, really deep pockets. And, there were only a select few that sort of held all the keys to the kingdom around analysis. And that's not the way it is anymore. And I think that's what's really exciting for me is the dynamic has shifted around analysis and access to those tools and the affordability of those tools. When I was at Alzheimer's Association raising $25 million and 700,000 donors, to analyze that file set was no small undertaking. And you had to work with a very, very large agency and pay a really high premium to get the sort of macro analysis and the micro analysis of the donor program. And likewise, at Mount Warwick Associates, we had to build a very, very large, robust analytics team and proprietary analytics tool set to deliver what our clients needed. And so I think that what's exciting about Fundraising Report Card is the product is democratizing analysis for nonprofits. It really giving them all the tools, and it's super affordable. We've made it easy to use and affordable.
This episode is brought to you by us here at MarketSmart and Engagement Fundraising by Greg Warner. In this quick break, I want to remind everyone to go to imarketsmart.com/exclusive-podcast-offer to download the Engagement Fundraising audiobook for free. This offer is only available to listeners of the podcast. It's our way of saying thank you for listening, and we really hope you enjoy the book. Once again, go to imarketsmart.com/exclusive-podcast-offer to take advantage of this promotion, available only to listeners of the podcast. Now, back to the episode. And how do you see yourself working with consultants going forward?
I think for consultants, we can help them be the analytic hero that they want to be. Consultants often have to grind through rows and columns in Excel spreadsheets to get actionable information in front of their clients. And it's tedious. It's menial, it's not interesting or fun, and we take all that away for them. We do all that. We do that in easy to navigate and understandable dashboards. They can get in and do all that really tough work really easily through our tool set. And the other beautiful thing is that it's all branded to the consultants and their organization, whether they're a small consulting agency, a large consulting agency, or frankly, just an independent consultant doing their shingle outside their door. So, we offer unlimited users, unlimited clients all under one roof. So I think for fundraising consultants, we'll save them time. Time is money. So we're going to save them money. We'll help them strengthen their brand, not only, the physical branding, but also the brand in terms of what they're offering their clients. And we'll help them keep their clients focused on the most important metrics. They'll be better fundraisers for their clients at the end of the day.
Okay, Dan, great answer. Loved every second of it. You did not harp on how much we all hate Excel. That is the bane of my existence, right? Who enjoys being in there? And especially if you've got a big file, anything more than 50,000 records and you start doing anything,
You really hit a nail on the head there.
No, I've hit my head on my desk when I was working in Excel. That's what you meant to say, Dan.
That too. It still amazes me that a lot of nonprofits and consulting firms, independent consultants and small firms, that's their tool set, is they're using Excel spreadsheets. It's not fun, and it's not nearly as robust as it needs to be, and doesn't let you do the sort of deep dive into the numbers that you can. For consultants, it really is a tremendous waste of time. The tool that's built at Fundraising Report Card, you just upload those Excel spreadsheets and you're off and running. And for small organizations, it's the same thing. You just upload your file, 3 columns. How much easier could that be? You upload it and you've got dashboards right there to help you understand your program. And you could spend hours in Excel spreadsheets and minutes in Fundraising Report Card.
The thing that excited me a couple years ago when I really started building out Fundraising Report Card here at MarketSmart was that in the market there was Excel, which I had already, I wasn't analyzing fundraising databases. I was just trying to do my job here at MarketSmart. And I just, you really got to either be an Excel wizard or you're getting frustrated. And then the other option that was out there to me in my research was BI tools, business intelligence tools like Tableau or Power BI, things like that. And when I started to research them, because I'm young, I'm naive, I'm really interested in learning, you really got to commit yourself. It's not like a 4-credit college course, but it's like a 2-credit college course. You can't really have it. You really got to do it if you're going to pursue one of those resources, because they're 5 figures. They're really expensive. And then they also are so robust that if you do become a master, you're probably going to leave your job at your nonprofit organization anyway and go become a systems or data analyst. So there's just this gap in the market. These organizations just are stuck, swimming and not really going in any direction.
Think about it think if you're in a regional organization, a nice mid-sized regional organization. I mean, oftentimes you don't have the money to pay for a fundraising consultant. Those are expensive solutions for you to have a fundraising consulting agency at your disposal. Excel spreadsheets aren't meeting your needs. You're not getting the kind of analysis that helps you understand your program and where to take it. And business intelligence solutions are totally out of your reach. I mean, one, financially, they're out of your reach. And then 2, as you mentioned, they're really hard to understand and to use. We, frankly, at my agency, and we had deeper pockets, we leveraged those tools, and you had to have some really high-paid people there who really understood and spent a lot of time understanding those tools. So I think you're right. There's this huge need for people to analyze their files, and they just don't have access to tool set. And we've got them. We've got them in a free version. We've got them in a pro version that's a subscribed paid version. And I think it's just a no-brainer for your typical regional organization that really is looking for a way to better understand their donor file.
And then there's this dichotomy within an organization as well, Dan, that I see. And I guess, we're on the podcast. Let me know your thoughts. You've got leadership on the board that you need to be sharing information with. And they generally, a lot of folks in those board positions come from a for-profit background where that type of organization does have the staff and deeper pockets to, use a Tableau or use a Power BI or something like that. It's not that they necessarily have the same expectations for reporting when they're on the board at their local nonprofit or even a larger organization, but they sure as hell wouldn't mind it. We end up in this position where it's almost like these folks that end up in the board seats look down upon the staff at the nonprofit organization, but they don't realize it's not their fault. It's a tooling fault. They've never been equipped with the right resource.
Correct.
That just blows my mind that no one has acknowledged this, and people have, but it's, integrated into your existing CRM and it doesn't really work quite as you want it.
No, I think there are 3 things to consider if you're a development director in an organization for analyzing things. You need to do an analysis of your file for your benefit on how to run your program, manage it, lead it, set priorities. Then you've got 2 other sets of analyses to feed out. One is to your boss, your executive director, right? You need to have key performance indicators. They don't need to get into the weeds. They need the 30,000-foot view of where is this program going? How many people are upgrading? How many people are lapsing? Is the file growing? Are their dollars growing? And then you've got board members who, I think you're right, many of them come with a very different experience set. And I guarantee nearly all the clients of Fundraising Report Card, if they use these tools and surface the analysis to their board of directors, they'll blow their socks off because they're likely not able to provide that information in that format to that critical audience because they hold the purse, right? So they're the ones that have the purse to the resources that you need. So I think this tool set meets your immediate needs to better understand your program, to manage it more effectively. It meets reporting needs to your boss, your executive director, and it meets the reporting needs to governance and your board of directors.
Well, with that, cover everything. Anything else you want to mention before we wrap it up?
The only other thing I'd say is, I know our big team is on the East Coast in Maryland, right outside of Washington, D.C. I'm out here in beautiful San Francisco, but I'm actually bi-coastal, just like my last job. I'm available to clients all across the country. So if folks are thinking about using Fundraising Report Card or their current clients with some questions, all they have to do is reach out, connect with me, and we'll find a time that works for them. They can reach me directly at D Doyle. That's really easy. Just my name, D as in Dan, Doyle, at fundraisingreportcard.com.
Great. Thank you so much, Dan, for your time today. It was great chatting with you.
Thanks.
Yeah, go get a cup of coffee, Dan.
I love my first podcast.
Well, we love having you on, and we look forward to the future here with you as part of the team.
Thank you.